Good afternoon, evening, and morning, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Shift Happens, where our goal is to shift consciousness one show at a time. Right, Martz?
That's absolutely right, and some shift happening already.
Yes, there is, I'll say. And we're your esteemed hosts, Connie and Martin Jordan. And with me, I'm an author of 2 books, shameless plug. Do we have this right? Okay. No Regrets, which is a journey about our son, which we will get into in this show. We're introducing ourselves to show so you can learn a little bit about us and who we are, what our plans are for the upcoming shows. Yep. And then my second book, or my first book, was that I was forced to write. So these 2 dead guys walked into a bar. My Life in the Paranormal, One Comic's Perspective, which leads me to, I'm a metaphysical comedian. Not you yet. Not you.
Okay.
It's still about me.
I'm waiting.
Okay. Metaphysical comedian, and a lot of people don't know what that means, and the only way I can describe it is that my husband sees dead people and I make fun of them. And if you're laughing, you're part of my audience. If you're not, move along. This show's not for you. And then we're also workshop facilitators together, and then Martin is a medium, past life regressionist, hypnotherapist, meditation specialist, singer-songwriter. What else did I leave out? Paranormal overachiever.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say? So, Martin, why don't you tell the people basically what our goal is with the show, the lay of the land, what our intent is.
Well, the intent of the show is to shift consciousness of everybody watching, like one show at a time, as we said before. And the layout is basically we're going to have guests and call-ins. If anybody wants to call in and ask me a question.
Why don't you give it the number now?
Okay.
Just so that they have it. We'll just keep mentioning it in case people, as they're tuning in, we want to continue to mention the number.
And call in when we say to call in, because if you don't, we'll just ignore you. Plain and simple. Area code 941-552-6593. That's 941-552-6593. Call in and ask us a question about the show, a question about your path, whatever question you have.
Now, it has to be quick because, we're under an hour here.
Yes. Don't be calling in and saying, I don't know why I called.
And here's the other thing, too, that you are available for private sessions.
Private sessions, yes.
Now, you do them over the phone as well. Now you have a place to work out of in Sarasota.
Yes. And
the number to reach you for that is 941-926-7522.
Yes.
And we'll go over the websites and everything else.
At the end of the show.
Yeah. Now, I know we wanted to do a thank you up front.
Yes.
Because we know that we'll get so excited talking about us that we may forget our shout-outs. We want to thank our daughter, Elisha. She does the makeup and she does our photography. So we want to thank her. Her website's justalisha.com because she is a photographer and makeup artist. Now, this one, the pendant that I'm wearing is very special to me because a friend of mine that I've met through our journey with Andrew came to her and said, I want you to make my pretty mama a piece of jewelry. So this is my pure heart pendant that my son helped design with a dear friend, Swati. And she does all kinds of beautiful jewelry and wiring and all that. And her website, really Swati, Flower Violet Jewelry on artfire.com. Now, flower is F-L-E-U-R. Fleur. Violet, V-I-O-L-E-T-T-E.
Violet.
So it's Fleur
Violet.
Jewelry on artfire.com.
Or you could just hit us up on Facebook and we'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah. Because we are on Facebook, Shift Happens TV, right?
Yes. Okay. Facebook.com/Shift Happens TV.
Okay. So I know a lot of people, as far as what brought us to this point.
Yes.
Actually, it was 5 years ago this time. Even today, we went back to the hospital with our son Andrew. We got 6 days home, and I realized today was the anniversary of when we went back on a Tuesday to find out that he was not in remission from leukemia. And we continued our journey with him. And in October 22nd, 2007 is when he made his journey home.
Yes.
And while it was the end of one journey with our beautiful son, I knew it was the beginning of a new one. And whenever you have a tremendous loss like that, and then one thing that we've done, when anything like this hits you, what Martin and I did, the only thing we could do was practice what we teach, walk our talk. And nothing will make you do that like a child being diagnosed with leukemia. So what happened is that because you're from Ireland,
Yes.
and so all of our family is in Ireland, and in order to keep everybody abreast of what was going on, I blogged every day the progress and everything that was happening with Andrew, because when you're in the hospital dealing with such a serious illness, you cannot make phone calls. It's very, very hard. And then, internationally, that's just not an option. So I blogged every night because I had the night shift. And by the end, we realized that we had a book. And I have continued to blog our journey with Andrew. And I was looking at his poster that we had at his service. It was actually for his benefit that people had for us.
Yeah.
And to this day, almost 5 years later, it still holds true. Next to his picture, I put "to be continued."
Yep.
I knew there was more. Little did I know. Little did we know how much more that there would actually be.
And it's starting to pick up now.
And it's really now coming on the 5-year mark.
Yeah.
Is huge.
Yeah.
The thing about made Andrew so incredible was that he knew he was an avatar, which is a master teacher. A bringer of light is what they say in the dictionary.
Yeah.
And he knew that. He's the one that told me that he knew that he was, but you had known that all along.
Oh, yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. And I had a friend of mine tell me that quite a couple of years before Andrew passed.
Oh, yeah. I think about when he was probably
Yeah.
9 or 10 years old.
And asked me if I knew that Andrew was an avatar. And I said, yeah.
And, Martin and I are under no delusions. We knew that we didn't have the only one. So we do know that part of our mission, the work that we do with Andrew, is to help educate adults, parents, everybody really, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, that there are more kids like him here. I mean, the proof is the ones that are usually the ones labeled ADD, ADHD, all the learning disabled ones, because Andrew was labeled learning disabled. We finally had to tell the school system, no, you're teaching disabled.
Yep.
He was a very, very bright kid. And ADHD in our world just means already dialed into a higher dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And our son, they wanted to medicate him. They wanted to do all these things to him and put all these labels. And I said, you can call him whatever you like, but you're not going to medicate him. And Andrew was also very clairvoyant, clairaudient. He was very tapped in. He had been meditating since he was 8 years old. And that's what really kind of kept him connected.
Yeah.
Now, people have asked me, Martin, I don't know if they've asked you this either, but they wonder, do we hear from Andrew often? Mm-hmm. And I laugh too. So I think it would be very cool for you to tell us how the interaction has been with you, even from the moment that he crossed.
Well, yeah, I don't get to see a lot of full-blown apparitions, per se. But when Andrew passed, it was about 8 seconds after he crossed, he appeared right beside the hospital bed.
Well, to the point that you thought you were going to wave to him.
Yeah.
Until you realized where you were.
Where I was and where he was.
Yeah.
Because he was still, the meat suit, as Andrew called it, his meat suit was still lying on the bed.
And he's standing there waving with a big grin.
Waving with a big grin on his face. And from that point forward, he appears as Andrew sometimes, but for the most part as his higher vibration, which we call pure heart, which is why we've named everything that we do is connected to pure heart energy.
Because that was the name given to him when he crossed.
Yeah, and that's the name I deal with as a spirit guide. And there's a lot of these children crossing like Andrew who are crossing, and there's people crossing as spirit guides, not just deceased loved ones.
Well, that was interesting because the other night, the last reading that you had, I mean, you were buzzing.
Oh, I was buzzing. It was amazing. Someone I'd never met before who lost a child. And
it was an adult child. He was 28 but they're still your baby boy.
And came across as this phenomenal, high energy spirit. And a lot of similar qualities. Like when he was a child growing up, he'd just go visit people in the PICU in the hospital for no reason, just to connect with them and stuff. In the VA, used to visit the VA all the time.
Wow.
And that type of person, this is what we're looking at out there. And a lot of them are being called home for whatever reason.
Meaning that they're crossing.
They're crossing over, and to be there for us in our daily lives as we go through our work. And forgive me, I'm expecting an important call.
Yeah, so it appear. It was a Facebook notification, wasn't it?
It was a Facebook notification. I got to stay plugged in. My peeps.
Doing a
Anyway.
great job. Was that me? Did I hear me?
Anyway, there are a lot of children out there like that, and what the goal of our show is to bring together people that we feel as guests that are doing a knock-up job out there, not just wandering around out there with light worker t-shirts on, but people who are actually doing some work.
Not just giving the lip service
No.
and walking the
And-
talk,
Yeah,
doing the work,
yes.
practicing what they teach.
Absolutely. All of the above. And we've got quite a few guests lined up, some of them musical, some of them humorous, some of them dead serious. But-
No pun intended.
No pun intended. But we've got a lot of guests and a lot of information lined up for you guys. As I said, we're using this show just to introduce who we are. And just to get to our first show, and we just want to get used to the cameras, the technology, and see what.
Well, it's interesting that you brought up the music, because one thing that the mediumship, Martin and I do mediumship events, and we've added music to it, basically so you would do the mediumship events. But the music is very, very powerful.
Yeah.
After Andrew crossed, he started coming to you
Yes.
with songs.
Yeah.
And I love the way that he would go to Martin with these songs, because he wouldn't just say, sit down and write this. He would take you on a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And then once he got you to the spot, that you're really lost in the moment, he's like, all right, get a pen and paper, write
Yeah.
this down.
Yep.
And that's what's really cool about that, the relationship that you have with Andrew now.
Yes.
And I think the importance of music, I think along the way people have lost how really important and vital the vibration of music is.
Vibration of music and the lyrics, it's the words of the warrior poets, the words that are coming through that can be very healing, and not this music that's out there now where you can't understand the lyrics, or it's the same 3 lyrics over and over and over again to be danced to by a bunch of mindless sheep. It's not.
It's trance music, is what
It's
you're
trance.
talking about, which is
yeah. It's getting back to basics, like with musicians like John Lennon, George Harrison, John Denver, people like that actually had statements to make and things to say. And I noticed the scene in Sarasota, where we live, a lot of these singer-songwriters, beautiful people, and the lyrics in their songs are really very poignant.
There is really some phenomenal
some talent.
singer-songwriters in Sarasota. It was really exciting for me to see.
Yeah.
And then it was funny with Andrew, because he told you not long after he passed that you had a CD coming out.
Yes.
And we've learned now, because what is it? Dance puppets, dance.
Yeah, but when that happens to me, I look at that, well, there's engineering involved, there's production involved, and I'm sitting, no, it's all going to be me again. And that's the only thing kind of prevents me from moving forward with a lot of these projects, is that you and I both know that we're the chief cook and bottle washers of everything that we do.
Yeah.
And
But you got the CD done.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad we have a producer for this show, so we can just sit and spew our nonsense and just be ourselves.
Right. Yes.
Which is kind of cool.
It really is nice.
Pay attention. Can we pay attention more, basically?
Now, I have continued to blog Our Journey with Andrew, like I had said, and there's just amazing some of the experiences you've had with him.
Oh, yeah.
I think one of the things that people might find interesting, too, is that when you've seen him walking through your office,
Yes.
as you said, he's not really walking through our office.
No, he walked through the wall leading into the office, crossed the room, and left through the other wall. And from stories like ghosts walking through walls and stuff like that, they don't, because where they are on that dimension, there are no walls. My office doesn't exist. They're just walking.
And so what is it, why is it that you think you see him? Because your vibration's high enough?
Yeah, because the vibration is high enough. Either that or I'm really, really tired. But I think it's because the vibration is up there, and I've trained myself to sort of raise my vibration. And that's through meditation and through a lot of things. It's about looking at life differently. And that's what we hope to do in this show as well, to teach you how to do that. And
Now,
look at life a little differently.
what would you say would be the greatest tool people would have to connect with their loved ones on the other side?
Without a doubt, meditation.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Now, a lot of people say, well, I can't shut my mind off. Oh, I can even see it now. People going, oh, yeah, that's me, that's me.
Yeah, they can't, the biggest complaint I get is that they can't shut their mind off. They can't sort of clear their mind is another one. And the beauty about meditation is you don't have to clear your mind in order to do it. As a matter of fact, you're better off not doing that until you get very practiced at it, because it will be frustrating.
Well, I think people, even though you had this gift from an early age, 3 years old, you were seeing spirits, correct?
Yes.
I know that you have honed this gift and have gotten so incredibly good at it through meditation. And I think what people forget, it's just like working out. Meditation, it's like considering going to the gym. It's working out your psychic muscle, correct?
Yes.
And the more you meditate, all of a sudden your mind quiets down because you're training your mind. It is a training.
Yep.
And I mean, yes, some people, like people will say to me, I wish I could connect.
Yeah.
You can.
Yes.
As I tell, then the analogy I give is everybody can learn to play piano. Just some people are more gifted at it and pick it up quicker.
Yes.
That's really all it is, the same thing connecting with spirit and hearing your higher self or your spirit guides. And for people that don't know what spirit guides are, what would you say would be the best description?
I just left my body.
Yeah, he leaves his body. I'm used to it, so I'll just carry on till he gets back.
I heard spirit guide. That's what I heard.
What would you say would be the best description of a spirit guide?
A spirit guide is anyone on the other side, not on this plane, that's prime directive is to make sure that you stay on your life path.
Well, it's pretty much the guides that kind of watch
Angels,
over you.
Guides, ascended masters like saints, and now we're finding out a lot of people you've known in this life, when they cross, they're also becoming spirit guides, like Andrew, and like a lot of the other children that we know. And those are the kind of people that if you go for a mediumship reading, don't really expect your deceased loved ones to have any great information for you on your life path, because that's the job of your spirit guides. That's the job of your angels, your guardian angel, whatever guides you have, be they Native American, be they ascended masters like saints, that kind of thing.
Now, what I think people would find interesting about you, because you've been in this work for a long time.
Yes.
And to find out that you're actually a scientist.
Yes.
That you have a degree in research chemistry. You did not believe in any of this stuff.
Nope.
You thought I was a crazy Yank when I went to a psychic in '87 while you were still living in Ireland.
At least I got the fact that you were a Yank, right?
Yes. Whether I was from the South or not, you still would have called me that.
Yeah, that's what we call all Americans in Ireland, Yanks.
Yeah, I had to educate them as, you know, you don't do that.
No.
I actually am from New Jersey, so I am a Yank.
Right. A Yankee.
So it's interesting for me because you have that science background, and I think that's why when guys come to our events, because we do past life regressions and we do the mediumship events, and it's funny for me how some of these guys show up thinking you're full of crap, and they can't wait to prove you wrong and tell you that you're full of crap.
Yeah, I like the way they come up to me and verbalize it. It's kind of, but it's usually after the fact, after their consciousness has been shifted a little bit.
Yeah, so I think, but that's one of the really cool things about you is that you have that science background.
Yes.
And so you even understand on a scientific level how all this kind of works.
Yeah.
That, because you love Greg Braden.
Greg Braden.
Now, what is it that he calls, because what I love about Greg is that he does have science as well.
Yeah.
And then he talks about spooky.
Well, it's spooky energy.
That's the scientific name.
That was what they were calling it, spooky energy, because it did weird things when you approached it with either negative energy or positive energy. It reacted to it. It either moved away from it or was attracted to it. And they didn't know what this energy was. And so they called it spooky energy. And
I love scientists.
And they're finding some more particles now, some deeper particles within the atoms now that they know to exist. And one of my favorite scientists, Nikola Tesla,
he's awesome.
talked about it years ago.
Well, it's like 100 years ago. When you think about the things that he invented,
but
and
they're coming out with it now
ago,
like they've just discovered it, and it's like, okay.
Free electricity 100 years ago.
I get it, and it's all got to do with politics, and that's fine. And that's why right now, spirituality and politics, they're actually running and they're getting closer and closer and closer, so that people who are spiritual now are taking politics. They're taking politics and they're actually standing up for themselves now in a political way. And I'm thinking, well, who else did that? Okay, John Lennon did that. George Harrison did that. And it's now coming to the point now where a lot of spiritualists are kind of staying out of the political arena because they don't want to mix that. They're staying out of the churchy arena. But now they're not able to anymore. So anybody, any spiritualist now who's worth their salt is able to stand toe-to-toe with these politicians and stand toe-to-toe like Gandhi was able to do and the Dalai Lama can do very easily.
He's getting some more airtime, which I like.
Absolutely, because the Buddhists and those Trappist monks, they are where they are because of politics.
Martin, we have a caller.
Okay.
Valerie is on the line. Would you like to talk with her now?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Let me patch Valerie in.
We have a caller.
Yes, we do.
And you can talk with her now.
Okay. Hi, Valerie.
Hi there. I'm really loving your show. It's so awesome.
And an admirer on top of it. Yay!
Well, what questions do you have for me today?
I have the main question. I have many, but I'm going to keep it brief and to the point. Is my mother has passed away, and
We can't hear her question, right? Is it just me?
Can you hear me now?
This is why we did the show, just us.
We should have a thing that goes bling, shift happens.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to get all that kind of.
It actually appears that shift is happening.
Yes.
Shift is happening all the time.
And I think this is what it is. So how are we going to deal with Valerie's question?
Well, let me see if I can talk with Valerie.
Okay, and then we'll just continue on.
Okay.
Just give us a shout when she's ready. How about some questions from that were asked
Well, give the premise. Because after Andrew passed.
Before we got here.
Yes.
See? Got all those questions?
Well, the interesting thing is that after Andrew passed, what we did on my blog and on the website that we started for Andrew was that we had people that they could ask Andrew any questions about the other side. Here you have this master teacher that so many people knew here, so you could ask him questions. So on the forum, I think we ended up with like 10 pages of questions, which now you're turning into a book. What a great idea. I wonder who thought of that.
Shut up.
That would be me.
Love and light.
Unfortunately, we lost Valerie.
Okay.
We do have her question.
Okay, that'll work.
So we'll start with the questions then. So that'll be the first question.
Sure.
How does one begin making connections with someone who's passed?
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
First of all, when you're dealing with spirits on the other side, you have to approach with an open mind.
That's one of the rules when we do our mediumship events.
Mhm.
Open mind and open heart.
Yeah, open mind, open heart, no judgment. And the way I do it and the way I teach it is I do it through meditation. And at the end of the show today, I'm going to teach everybody a breathing meditation to reduce your stress level and to get your body in alignment. Now, when you're dealing with the other side, you close your eyes and you meditate. This is providing you've learned the basics of meditation, which only takes about 5 minutes.
Which brings up what? What can they find? You have meditation CDs.
I have meditation CDs.
Guided meditations, and one of them, well, we're not going to sell them here, but they're for download as well.
Yes.
And the one is Meet Your Spirit Guide, which is great because you can use that to connect with a loved one as well.
Now, when you go in, I always tell all of my clients to keep a pad of paper handy.
Well, let me stop you a second. Did you tell us the website?
Not yet.
No.
The website is Pure Heart Space, SPACE, spell it out, .com, pureheartspace.com.
Which we will be
They
putting.
can buy your CDs there.
Yes.
Yes.
And we'll be doing that at the end of the show anyway.
And the book?
Yeah.
Not that one. This one.
Back to me.
Fine.
Trust me, I'm going to get very little airtime on this show.
I know.
Now, the pad of paper is something that I use in a pen so that I can engage my ego. So now that it has something to do, and I just start with my eyes closed, I ask the spirit or the deceased loved one that I need to communicate with to join me. And I'll just start writing. First thing that comes into my head. If you think you're making it up, you're on the right track. Because spirit will come to you in your subconscious mind or your imagination, because the ego isn't involved in either of those spaces. That's why when you just going to sleep at night, that twilight time, you hear things and you'll see things, or that time when you're just waking up.
Well, even with Andrew's friend, Wesley, he knew.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't realize that he was hearing Andrew.
Yeah.
And I had to tell him, I said, you're hearing him, you just don't know that it's him, because a lot of people expect to hear a voice outside of their head.
Yes.
And it's actually quickly inside of your head. It's like a thought that comes in very quick.
Yeah.
And it's, you start to learn going, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And, I've learned that with Andrew, that when he's talking to me, it's very quick, and it's actually inside your head.
Yes.
Now, for me, when he first crossed, I could feel him touching me. You'll get like a buzzing. I would feel it on my head. I would feel it on my third eye. I could feel that. And so it's things like that. Ask for a sign from the loved one. With Andrew, he communicates to us a lot through numbers, songs. And when you hear a song, you'll notice that there will be a line that just seems to sound louder.
Yeah.
It just catches your attention. And, we have somebody that I know that lost their son a few years before Andrew had passed. He was 19, and it was an accident. And she says, I wish I got signs from my son like you do Andrew. And I said, honey, you do. You just got to pay attention. You've got to quit explaining it away.
Open mind. And you've got to have a belief system that when someone crosses over, that the energy of that person still exists. Because we're all energy, and physics will tell you energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So when the meat suit dies, that energy goes back to source. That's the easiest way I can explain it to people. It goes back to source. It gets intermingled again with source. And their molecules of energy, you can still connect with them as they were, but definitely as they are now.
Yeah, because that's what I love. On Andrew's first anniversary, we were on the beach, and Brandon, our friend, was there, and he knew Andrew, and he lost a brother when he was 15. His brother was 19, and he wasn't on a spiritual path, and he just had this epiphany. He was in law school going, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And he started to study, and he said he always talked to his brother. And as he started to become more spiritually awakened, he got to see who his brother truly was.
The bigger spirit.
The bigger spirit, almost like a guide. And he said, and I talk with him most of the time, he goes, but when I need my big brother, there's a place in my heart that he's just my big brother. And that's the way it is, perfect example with Andrew, because you do readings, all right, you do commercial readings, which is a whole other ballgame. And they can be really hard because it's usually about loser relationships that people don't want to move from, and they don't want to hear the truth. And you had asked, come on, Andrew, I need an answer for this woman. And he gave some kind of crazy answer. And you said, that's not a pure heart answer. He goes, Daddy, you didn't ask for pure heart.
Right.
You asked for Andrew.
And I think that's, for a lot of people, that when you're dealing with spirit guides, and for anybody who wants to communicate with the other side, I would suggest starting off with like Archangel Michael and just asking Archangel Michael or Jesus or Archangel Raphael. Anyone, any
that you feel a connection
deity
to,
that you feel a connection to, and just practice with them.
And you know what the other word, and it's a small word, but it's huge. You have to trust what you're getting. And that's why whenever we do any kind of a meditation group, like a past life regression, or even connecting with a spirit, if we say a message from Michael that we're doing, a meditation for that, we always tell people, we give them a few minutes, write down what you get. Write it down. You'd be surprised, because not only will you start writing, you start getting more information.
Yeah. And it's like I said before, and I'm going to reiterate it, if you think you're making it up, you're on the right track.
And people have a hard time with that.
Yeah, there's plenty of time to question it when you're done writing. When you're done with it, then burn it if you want to. But don't question it as you're going along. Allow the process to happen. And when people think, well, meditation, they think they got to meditate for half an hour to an hour. 5 minutes. 5 minutes or 10 minutes in the morning before you leave for work or before you do anything will change your day. Guaranteed.
Well, even as you're going through your work day, being able to just center yourself again. And I think, being in Hawaii a while ago, that's the one thing the Hawaiians said about the mainland. You people don't know how to breathe.
No, and it's all about breath. And which is what I'm going to teach at the end of this
Mm-hmm.
at the end of this show, and that's what it's all about. But that's how you connect with a deceased loved one. Now, when people are trying to connect with their own deceased loved ones by themselves, you have to be careful that this is information that you're going for yourself. So you have to be extremely open-minded, because you might not like the answers that you're getting, maybe more truth than you can handle, and you've got to be sure going in that you're okay with the truth. A lot of people aren't.
Oh boy, do we know that.
They say they are, but once you're hit with that truth, because truth is pure, and you've got to be prepared for that pure energy. You know, it's like if you're walking around and you're saying, should I get rid of my deceased husband's stuff? When something's been telling you for a year, it's time to let it go. If you go to that deceased person, they're going to tell you, get rid of it. But if you're not ready to get rid of it, you may not hear that answer from Spirit. You may hear what you want to hear.
Well, I think, like even when our uncle that we were close to passed,
Yeah.
it took a while, and I said, take your time.
Yeah.
And I loved what she did. She didn't just get rid of
No.
his stuff. She gave it to family members.
Absolutely.
We got his tie,
Mhm.
which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And what a great way to have everybody have something.
Have everybody connect
Yeah.
with the deceased. But again, when you're doing that, just make sure that you're ready and you're open to whatever answer you're going to get, because if you're open, the answers will surprise you.
Yeah, and I think it's not as
And
hard.
there's nothing dangerous about it. Good grief.
No, I think when you come from a pure intention and like connecting with Andrew, I mean, he's with us all the time. People think that maybe we only hear from him every now and then. You're in constant conversation with him.
But I get it from people all the time. Well, isn't that dangerous? Yeah, look at me. I've been doing it for 20 years. Look at me. Really dangerous, So it's not dangerous.
That's just old dogmatic teachings.
It's religious teachings.
Yeah.
And you've got to steer clear of that. You've got to sort of get into what it is that you want to do and whatever you're comfortable for. And trust me, some of these shows are going to get pretty controversial.
Really?
Because you and I both don't pull any punches when it comes to that.
No.
Because there's a lot of nonsense out there.
Well, even talking about Andrew being an avatar,
Yeah.
I thought, I'm not going to apologize for that. When he told me himself that he knew
Yeah.
that he was a master teacher, and I know that goes against some religious things, that there's only one this or that. There's not.
And for those light
It's
workers,
so much bigger.
For those people out there that know they have a gift, come out of the closet. There's enough of us out there to support you, to let you know that this is what you can do.
Yeah, these closets need to be coming empty. They really do. Too many people have been in the closet.
Yeah, and
for
I
all
think
the wrong reasons.
totally wrong.
And the
reasons.
ones that are running their mouth and putting down people, they need to go back in the closet.
Yeah, but the bottom line with those, no matter what you do in your life, you'll always have haters. But what do haters do?
And what did Train say yesterday? If you don't have haters, you're not doing something right.
You're not doing it right.
That's how you know you're doing something right.
Yeah.
You got to have your haters.
Well, haters hate. That's what they do. So,
hey, we have one on our Facebook page for this event.
Yeah. And it's just ignorance, or
Yeah.
them not wanting to read a book, or go off and sort of study it. Like I have a couple of right-wing friends on my friends list, very religious people, but they hit me with intellectual arguments.
But those I can handle.
And I love that, because that's where they're coming from, and they have the knowledge to back it up, and it's what works for them. It would never work for me, and we get along famously because of that. It's not about judging each other. It's like I see a lot of people out there now trying to pull down the current government. It's like, stop being a hater. Do something about it. It's stop talking and start doing. And this is what it's all about. And this is what we're bringing with our show, is to try and, if you're open to it, teach you how to bring it. Teach you how to walk your talk. Especially when people around you are trying to keep you at a certain level because they're comfortable with you the way you were.
Well, ding, 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 we have a winner.
Absolutely.
Well, that was just it, losing a child. In one of my recent blog posts, it's a game changer. Martin and I are forever changed.
Absolutely.
We're not the same people. We're never going to be the same people. It doesn't make us worse.
No.
It's just that we're different. And I think for us, we have less tolerance for BS, and because of what we've been through. When you live on an oncology floor of a children's hospital for 4 months and you see children, babies, fighting for their life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of changes you.
Yeah.
You know, and then you see people that just waste their life, and these kids would give anything not to have brain
Mm-hmm.
cancer or leukemia. And you see these people whining and complaining, and it's like, do the work.
Yeah, the
Do
thing
the
with
work.
me
Is
is-
it hard?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's hard.
course.
Don't talk to me about how hard things are. I know how hard it is.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, when I asked Andrew that one time in the hospital, why are you so happy? Why are you so positive all the time? And he said, come here, Daddy. And he took me outside the hospital room to the room next door, and there was this little kid with Down syndrome.
Under 2 years old.
Yeah. And I said, oh, he's got Down syndrome. And Andrew said, yes, and he has leukemia. So I have no problem, and I have no time for anybody who's supposed to be old enough to understand that you've got to be compassionate. You've got to be compassionate with everybody,
Even the stupid people.
even the stupid people.
Oh, come on. That's not happening for me. You know that's not happening for me.
I get that because
I smite stupid people.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't know how to do anything else. Come on, you're killing me.
I mean, we've tried to put you in that
I tried-
nicer, calmer me.
I tried
and
being a kinder, nicer me, and it
And-
bites me in the butt every time.
It does. It backfired on you. I saw that. I saw that more than once.
Well, no, the crazy lady that called me for a year. Really? So, I realize it's not my gig.
It's not your gig.
It's not my gig.
No, and I think that's
And
why
that's okay.
That's why we compliment each other. You know, it's that kind of thing. But I have what we call our grr moments, where people just sort of get in under our skin. Thank goodness.
Even if it's unreasonable.
Even if it's unreasonable. And thank goodness, because of the work that I do with the meditation, it doesn't happen as often anymore, that I manage to stay in a calm zone, in a calm space. But you've really got to look at what people are saying in your life, consider the source, and then decide, is it worth it?
Oh, is it worth your time?
Is it worth your time? I mean, how important are you to yourself?
And as we know, my answer is usually, yeah, no.
No. I mean, you can usually before
Moving on.
You're pretty good at that, though, because you usually get it before they open their mouth. You usually get it.
It's a gift.
That's a gift.
What can I say? It's
Now,
a gift.
let's look at a couple of the questions.
Well, we
that,
don't. We only have like 3 minutes before we're going into our 5-minute wrap up. So
Really?
we may have time for one question. Nope. Oh, we have 10 minutes. All right. Awesome. More time.
Okay. You pick a question.
I pick a question.
Yes.
I pick a question.
You pick the
Okay.
question.
All right. Here's a good one. Do they know?
Does it sound like an answer?
I hope so. It better be. Do our loved ones, it says do they, so I'm going to assume it's our loved ones on the other side, do they intervene when we are in trouble? I don't know
That
if
is a good question.
I don't know if it would be, if that's the angels or just beings on the other side.
Well, I don't really see it too often where deceased loved ones intervene.
No, but I have heard stories.
But I've heard stories of angels and the spirit
No,
guides
I have heard of like a
intervening.
father with an accident with a daughter.
Okay.
So
Then it's not my gig hearing about that. I'm more sort of, with that, I'm looking at spirit guides and angels whose purpose it is to guide you on your life path. And if it's not your time to go, then yes, they will intervene. And that's a whole another show, talking about
Yeah.
just that subject alone. What
because,
is your time?
Well, that was the same, with Andrew, because, being the healers, I mean, he was a Reiki master.
Yes.
And we say master because, I don't know, I
Mhm.
think he's a
Oh,
master.
absolutely.
And he was attuned at 12 years old in a fairy ring. And so how does somebody who's positive all the time, who walked his talk to the point that his friends would be annoyed
Yeah.
that he was happy all the time. And I was afraid when he was diagnosed with the leukemia that was going to change him.
Yeah.
And it magnified who he was.
But it goes
That he
back to the question,
still chose to be happy.
why do babies die? Why do good people die? Why? Because it's how we look at death.
Mm-hmm.
We look at it as this great final curtain call. And it's not. It's not even close to that. We are not that significant as human beings. It's our spiritual side that's very significant.
Well, like Andrew said after he passed.
And it's all about contracts.
Exactly.
No.
He was supposed to go the first week.
Mm-hmm.
And the type of leukemia he had, we know of people that are gone within 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
And that really was a very real thing. The doctors did not think he
There was a
gonna
lot
make
of
it.
stuff they didn't do with him in the PICU when he first arrived that they normally do with people that they believe are going to live. Like they didn't put a Metaport in him for the chemo. They did a lot of stuff they didn't do because they didn't think he was going to make it.
So here's that question of, intervention or the other side, and I think from what I gathered, what Andrew has said is because of who we were, because we stepped up.
We stepped up.
And the healers, and not to mention all the people around the world.
It was to give the people that stepped up with their healing and their prayers to realize that there is a reason to pray and heal.
There was more of a benefit of him staying those extra months because they could see that the blog was going to happen. I was going to step up. So all these things, and literally tens of thousands of people around the world were going to be affected in a positive way. So that's why we bought.
And we're still getting emails on it. And he's still doing his work across the world in Asia and Australia. We get emails from all the time.
So we were able to get those 4 months.
We couldn't not believe this if we tried.
No, we really could.
It's out of our hands at this point. It's in the hands of Spirit at this point, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it.
So in Andrew's case, well, even then, like you were going back into the room to heal that small lung bleed that he had, because that's one of his, as you call it, parlor tricks.
Parlor tricks.
You can stop bleeding, not gushing, squirting out blood.
I've never tried that, so I don't know.
Right, you might be able to.
You never know.
Want me to cut my wrist?
No, because then you wouldn't want me to stop it.
Right.
Yeah. It's another story.
Yeah. So when you went in there, you were pushed out.
Physically, yes.
Yeah. And then even Jeremy, who was doing
by forces
healing.
unknown.
Yeah. So there was the time that it was his time. So there
and
was
I'm not a whack job. I'm not a crackpot. I look at these things and I question them.
Well, the scientific background, yeah.
And it happened. There was nobody in front of me. There was nobody behind me. And the door was open. And I was pushed out of the room as soon as I tried to go in.
Well, and Jeremy wasn't allowed in remotely, so you got that confirmation.
So I look at what Andrew has taught me, acceptance before understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at that. I was standing here. Now I'm standing here, and there's nobody around me. I accept that. Did I understand it? No.
In the room?
Out of the room. Near, far away. And I just had to say, this is where I am. So I've been looking at it and going, I have to accept that. And okay, do I understand it? Not to this day. But I said, a force that was there pushed me out of the room because it's like, yeah, you guys did great, but you've got to stop. We're done. He needs to come home.
Well, what do we teach about the angels? That they love us. Mm-hmm. Everybody has at least one. We have yet to see somebody with only one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we're struggling, what is your famous line about angels?
Angels are like vampires. You have to invite them in.
And if you don't ask for help, the angels are just going, okay, so you want to struggle, okay, because they don't judge good or bad experiences or traumatic experiences. They understand this is just we come here to experience everything. So they're looking at, bless your wooden head.
Yeah, if you you look like you want to experience this the hard way, and we will hold the space for you. We will be there for you when you're done. Or invite us in now. Ask for help.
So the only other time they would intervene is if you were not supposed to leave.
The thing with humans, is they have always a hard time asking for help. So one of the major lessons that your guides will always be bringing to you.
That only ask for help all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, they're the ones that need help. It's the ones that sort of sit back, and there's a lot more of those, and they don't ask for help. Those are the ones that, this is why your guides do this. This is why your angels do that, is to get you to step up to the plate and learn how to receive, learn how to ask for help, because there has to be a balance.
Well, it's all about the free will. We come here to sign up for good and bad things, hard experiences and all that kind of stuff. So, it's our decision, and we can have help along the way, but we have to be able to ask for it.
Yes.
Now, I know I want to start giving out websites, because I know you definitely want to do that breathing exercise before we end. And we've got 5 minutes now. Our website where you can get a hold of us is Pure, P-U-R-E, Heartspace, HEARTSPACE.com, pureheartspace.com. You can get a hold of us there. Martin is available for private mediumship, psychic readings, past life regressions, hypnosis.
Mm-hmm. Want to drop some weight?
I know you actually had good results.
Want to drop some baggage, friends, relatives?
So, and you do it over the phone. You can also use Skype. And if people are in Sarasota, you do one-on-ones. You have a place to work out of.
Yes.
So you're available there. And the number to contact is also 941-926-7522. Okay, and then so what are the other websites that you have? I know you've got them written down.
Okay, well, Shift Happens TV is facebook.com
Like our page. We need more likes.
/ Shift Happens TV.
We're needy.
Go through to it and like it so we can see how many people are there, because we will be posting specials and stuff on that page. And the No Regrets, hold your book up there again. Facebook.com, and check out No Regrets. I think it's just type in No Regrets on Facebook, and we have a page for that book also.
And it's also on Kindle
And it's on Kindle.
and Smashwords, so it is actually
Smashwords.
for e-readers.
Yes.
So that's what's really great, because it's really expensive to ship the hard copy.
It's a book for your Nook,
It is.
basically.
There you go. A book for your Nook. And we are on Amazon.co.uk, so you can order it there as well as a hard copy. We just weren't able
And
to mail it.
Australia. Apparently we're going into Australia shortly.
Are we?
Yeah.
Yes, they love me in Australia,
You
and
are
I
the
love.
Hasselhoff of Australia.
I am.
Yes,
I
you
love
are.
my Australian friends.
What do we call you? Connie Hoff or
I'm
Cough for
the
short?
Cough.
Cough. You are the Cough.
No, the Australians have been so good to me through the years when I had my comedy DVD out
Yes.
and my first book, and even in the hospital with Andrew, they were up all night with me. Well, it was daytime for them, but
Yeah.
they've been a tremendous support. So a shout out to my Aussie friends.
Good eye.
All right, so
Apparently they don't say that down there.
really?
There's a couple of things I thought they said down there that they don't. It's just the stupid people making fun of Australians say that.
Well, that's like giving me my Lucky Charms.
That's, right.
You get mad at that.
No.
And then everybody does a Lucky Charms guy. So.
Madly, yes, but I like it too. Irish
And
Spring.
Irish Spring soap.
Yeah. Anyway, next week's show,
Oh, yes, very exciting.
we have an exciting
We
show.
have all exciting guests,
Oh
not
yeah,
just one.
absolutely. Next week is Hay House author
Stephen Farmer.
Dr. Stephen Farmer, who is a shaman, and he's written several books on animal spirit guides, and I believe that's what we're going to be talking about.
Who knows?
is
See what spirit takes us.
Where spirit takes.
See what
He's
kind
a
of shift
phenomenally
happens.
interesting man, and with a lot of good stuff
Right,
there.
so I want to do the breathing because I want to make sure we do that before
Okay.
we're off the air.
Okay, for whoever's listening and whoever listens in the archives, this is the quick breathing exercise. I want you to relax and shake out whatever fatigue that you've got going on. Put your feet firmly on the floor, arms by your side. And I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to breathe in through your nose. Hold it for a few moments to the count of 4. Then breathe out for the count of 4. Take a second deep breath, breathing in now, counting to 8 as you breathe in. Hold it for the count of 8.
Way ahead of you.
And breathe out for the count of 8. Take a third deep breath, breathing in now for the count of 4. Holding it for the count of 4. And breathing out through your mouth for the count of 4. Now, as you're breathing, I want you to feel the ingoing breath going all the way down to your tailbone. And as you're breathing out, I want you to visualize that breath or feel that breath coming up from your tailbone all the way up and out through your mouth. And with every breath you take like that, it'll gather all those toxins in every cell in your body and blow it out into the air where it's going to be transmuted. But if you do this breathing exercise, you can go 4, 8, 12 if you want, take it up to 12. Or just stick with the 4 and the 8, but take it up and bring it back down again, and I guarantee you'll feel more at peace and less stressful when you're done.
Because I know that's how you start all your meditations
Absolutely.
and regression work, and it does. I love it.
Yeah. And I do it after every call that I get.
That you're coming out and going.
That makes my eye twitch.
Yes.
And it works. It centers you again and gets you back to. And if you do that, and the difference between reacting to someone and responding to someone is one breath. So before you say anything, take a breath.
Now, I guess we have any time left? 1 minute? 1 minute. We have 1 minute left. So I want to thank everybody that has tuned in live.
Yes.
We so appreciate the support. And those that are going to be tuning in the archives, thank you again for the love and support. Again, we have pureheartspace.com, is where you can find us no matter what, and Facebook, Facebook.com/Shift Happens TV.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see you next week at the same time with Dr. Stephen Farmer. And what do we say? How did Andrew say to live our lives?
Live your life with no regrets.
And die laughing.
Thank you.